Hi, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be going over the container garden inside on the front yard, and going to start off with the dwarf tomatoes. Now I will say we got a really big storms here. Had 80-mile-an-hour winds. It blew over some of my trees, and since I had this one tied up, it blew this one down too. So it did split this one, but we still got some really, well, that one's gotten rotted on me. I can feel it. But this is a Tasmanian chocolate. The Fred's tie-dye. And the thing about dwarf tomatoes, it does not mean the tomatoes themselves are dwarf, because that's a good sized tomato right there. And it's looking really well. It's got a couple more tomatoes down there. This one here's the kookaburra cackle. It's got some nice ones ripening on here. So, you know, done really well. I've had a bunch of rain, which is not good for tomatoes. And so overall, like I say, the dwarf tomatoes have done really well. And I'm really pleased with them. So. If you're going to be growing in containers, even if they're a little bit bigger containers like this, I still really recommend. That way these plants don't get monstrous on you all of a sudden, even before they start making. We're going to go over here just so I won't forget with the pineapple and the green tea. These are pineapples that's already started fruit on them that I bought them with the fruit at the nursery, JRN Nursery. Here's the other one that was a little bit bigger fruit, and it's kind of leaning. This green tea, one thing I did learn about it is it needs very low pH, even lower than blueberries, anywhere from a 4.0 to 5.5. So kind of treat them like you would a blueberry to keep the acidity low on those. Come back over here. We've been getting temperatures in the 90s here lately, so the carrots are starting to struggle, but they did grow well this year. Just pull one up, show you how. Well, that didn't go very big. But they are starting to get a lot of these hairs on them, so we're going to try to pick some of these and kind of thin them out, because like I say, it's just that time of year. Here's the lime tree, the Persian lime. Again, it just doesn't really do anything. So he's throwing on a little bit of, and there's one of the caterpillars. Some people really like them, but a small tree like that, you can't really defoliate it. Here's one of the other, I think this is an orange tree. The loquat tree is doing well. I'm going to try to keep it from getting too vigorous, because you don't want to get too big, because that's why we got in the pot, so we can take it inside or pull it underneath the deal, so you don't want to get much taller than this. Another one of the, I always forget which one, this is foxtail rosemary. And I need to put it over here, I guess. Like to look with it better. Barbados cherry. It's not going to bloom this year, I don't believe, but I do need to trim it up, get it shaping up a little bit better. Like I say, it sat outside with 15-degree temperature, suffer some more damage. You know, it's not made for that. It did survive it though, so I will give it that. Over here we got another one of the orange trees that I'm growing, and there's the lemongrass, and this here, Groovy Tunes, I believe, is these came up by a volunteer, letting them grow in the same bucket. Don't want, you know, that's too much for one bucket, but I figure by the time these make, these should take over and it should be okay. We got the pepper plants. They aren't doing very well. They need to have the peppers picked. I don't pick the peppers. My wife does, so she don't come out very often until she gets feeling better. And more of the kind of row of the there. I should pull that off. I might let one go. I know I'm not going to let more than one. So pomelo is this one here. I'm not going to go through all the different ones, but they are growing good. You got the new growth here. Make sure it darkens up. This is the color that you want on your orange tree, so when they do have a flush of growth, they will go ahead and flush out and grow well. This is the rosemary over here that I've been growing for, I think this is the second year on it. This is my tropic snow peach. It's got some on it. It's made one or two. They're not quite ready, most of them. Hadn't had much brown rot on these yet, and I hope they don't. I did thin some, but I should have thinned more. And that's going to be hopefully next year I'll do a better job. This is some of the ginger that came back from last year. Didn't pick it. She kind of got small, and I planted late in the year, so I let it come on back. And it did come back from just naturally came back. So that's what overwintered for us. This is, I never can remember the names of these trees. The clementine, mandarin. It doesn't look real good, so I did put some more fertilizer on it. I don't really like that color that well. This one looks a little better, and this is, I think, the pumpkin. Yeah, pumpkin mandarin. It looks more like the color that you're wanting on it. Try not to get you too drunk. We'll come look over here. This is the ginger. That's, I mean, mint. That's the chocolate mint, the orange mint, and then I got a couple more mints, and I'm going to put these in those containers that look like that over there with sweet potatoes in it. That way they won't go everywhere. This one here is apple mint, and pineapple mint. Never have tried those, so my wife wants a different type of mint, so let them look at that. The fig that I got to go ahead and come up, the roots are really growing good. I am having a hard time keeping it moist, so I'm gonna have to pot it up. If I don't, I'm supposed to be mailing to somebody, but they ain't got me the address yet, so if I don't get it pretty soon, I'm gonna pot it up in probably one of these size pots or something. Just try not to get too big in case I do have to mail it. I don't want it to get, you know, cost you arm and leg on shipping anymore. Coming back over here, this is the Jiu-Jitsu sweet lemonade tree, and it's put on a flush of growth, as you can tell. So I fertilized it a little bit, and it responded. So I'm gonna cut back on it because I don't want to get too big. This is the fruit on it. It's growing well, doing nice. There's not a whole lot of fruit set this year. I got those two. I got two over here, but it did make more last year. This is the Myers lemon. It's got a lot of fruit that's falling off. I think it's stressed. I do need to repot it, make it do better. Okay, let's go over here. Yes, it's the pumpkin, Chandler pumpkin. Again, it doesn't look very good, but I'm also not wanting to put too much growth on it, so I've not quite figured out. You know, I got 3 right here, 1 there, 1 there. Surprising that side didn't produce. So another thing you gotta be careful of is when you leave these straps on, you don't want to get them too tight. That didn't hurt nothing, but when you see it, go ahead and loosen them up so it will girdle the tree. They can't take a whole lot of pressure on it. It doesn't take much. This is the other pumpkin, pomelo, that hasn't done as well. I mean, it's produced more, but doesn't look as good, so I just fertilized it some. I'm trying to get it to grow a little bit more. It's a year or two older than the other one. So, you know, one's growing, one I'm trying to keep down from growing too much. And then the other ones, I need to trim it up and take a lot of dead wood out and things. So, just need to shape it up. This is a lychee tree. Made a few of the lychees. It was one of the ones that fell over, but you got 3 there, you got a couple there. There's some on the other side. Didn't make a whole lot, but I think it's a cross-pollination issue. And the other tree that I got to cross-pollinate didn't bloom out this year. It's still too young. It should bloom hopefully next year. I do need to tie these things down, put a T-post over it and tie them down. I will tell you, if you're going to use bungee cords, they only last about 3 months, and then they'll rot on you and won't be any good. The other dwarf tomato that I've got, Sweet Sue, and a tomato worm got after it, really knocked it back, but it's still got a couple on it. It looks good. This is a sweet leaf. You can put that in your salads. It's got a real sweet leaf to it. It's also called katuk. This is the other loquat that we got growing in the pot. It's the first year it's been growing in the pot. And, you know, you see how it does. And this one, I forget what they call it. It's kin to Cherry the Rio Grande. I can't remember the name right offhand. It is starting to come back from the base. I figured it had died. I almost wish it would die because it hasn't really produced any fruit for me. So this is the nectarine tree that grew this year, and it needs to be trimmed back so I can get it down shorter, and needs to be put in a bigger pot. Right now it needs a little bit of water, but I'm going to water them tomorrow. The blackberries, pretty much quit making. You know, they're small. Most of them are bigger berries than this. This is the first year that they were put in pots. So this cane right here, I'm gonna need to cut it back all the way back to here because it's not gonna make any more fruit. This one here is the one that came up this year, and it's still gonna make fruit on it. And it is very dry. That is one way to tell on these. That's real, so I know it needs some water. You can tell these here are starting to wilt, why I suspected it did. Where this one here is heavier, so it hasn't used up all this water, so it's got more water in it. But still, I'm going to water that one. Ants got into that one, so it's probably made it drain even better, and I did poison the ants, got rid of them. The other pineapples that I had, I'm going to move them over here. I think they're getting too much sun. See, they kind of, you know, it's got some sun scars on them, whatever. Something like they may be eating on them. I'll use some water on them too. That's the one that I grew from a top, and it's starting to put on a new deal there, so it's doing pretty good. Probably gonna need to pot it up pretty soon, so it's growing well. This is the other Jiu-Jitsu. It just needs a bigger pot, better fertilization. That's why it looks like it does. And the fire ants got in it too, so that doesn't help anything. So anybody talks about ants being in your garden, fire ants you don't want in your garden. They will destroy just about everything as well as bite you. This here is one of the thyme. It's a pink thyme, and it's creeping along the ground. And it ended up taking over that whole container. This is finally the Okinawa spinach. It's finally starting to grow, starting to take off. It likes hot weather, and have 3 plants of it, and they all came back. So they survived good. The oregano that takes over everything, that's what I like in that type of pot. It hangs over the side. It's not taking over the whole garden, it's just taking over that one pot, so that does well. I'll come up over here. The roddenberry peach, it did blow over. No, it didn't blow over the other day. It does got a little bit of, it's starting to put out some leaves on it. It's got some of these, it will produce later in the year. That's one thing I don't like about it, because you're gonna have to spray more often, but then again, I may get some peaches later. This here is another one of the tropic snow, and it's looking good. Some of these have made. I'm starting to get some brown rot that needs to be taken out of here. That's what it does. It just gets certain size and it just takes them over. You want to pull these off and then haul them off. You don't want to just throw them down, because these things will stay together and they'll make it worse next year. This tree here, it's looking good. We've gotten over 50 inches of rain since the beginning of the year. It's just too much rain for this thing, and I don't know if it's going to make it or not. Probably not. But if you get so much rain, peaches do not like wet soil. I think it just stay too wet for it, so it just couldn't handle it. Come over here. This is a pomegranate. I always have a hard time remembering that one. It's doing good. It has not bloomed. I think there's one that did bloom in the other yard, or the other garden. This here's going to be the blueberries. I did fertilize them, and they started putting out some more growth on it. You want to start getting your growth on now. I'm going to get them up good size. The leaves are looking good for new growth. They're light, but they're not different colors, so I think my pH is okay on them. And I'll continue to fertilize them, kind of try to get them to going. I think most of these blew over too, didn't they, Patrick?
2, I think.
2 of them. And they do need to be trimmed up and all that. This is Snow Chaser. This is Sweet Crisp. And then there's Sweet Crisp, and that's O'Neill. So trying to go and get them up and growing. I need to take out some of these limbs that are probably dead. And then we'll come over here and look right quick at the figs. And they're starting to put on all the different figs and things. So if you like figs, they've done well. I did plant one fig in the ground, and it lost all its leaves. Looks like it might die, and I don't know if it just got too wet or what, but down there, so I don't know. Of course, this one here is getting stretched out too. You don't really know why it's looking like that, but I don't think that's fire blight, but it could be. They do get, the loquats are kin to the pear family, so they do get fire blight just like pears do. So And this is my in-ground fig. If you can get them in ground, that's the way to go. This is Strawberry Verde, I believe it is. And it's a shorter one, not near as vigorous. You put on a little bit of fertilizer on it, but not too much. If you don't fertilize your lawn at all, they need a little bit of fertilizer. If you fertilize your lawn at all, they don't. They just need a little bit of fertilizer. If you fertilize them too much, they grow too fast, will not produce fruit. If you don't fertilize them enough, you stress them and they won't produce fruit. So they do need to be stressed a little bit. Just don't go overboard with it. They do need water because lack of water would kill them. Lack of fertilizer won't. But if they're just sitting there not growing at all, don't be afraid to add some fertilizer to them. So, and this is the one that I planted. It looked plenty good when I put it in the ground, and it lost all of its leaves. So we're gonna find out if it comes back or not. I mean, I did everything I knew that was right, and it's decent soil, but we've gotten a lot of rainfall. I don't know if it got too dry. Sometimes we put these in pots, they can get too dry, but we had a lot of rain, so I don't think that was it. But just maybe the shock of it, who knows? Sometimes I don't always figure things out. I try to. I know they always say you learn from your mistakes, but if you don't know what you did wrong, it's kind of hard to learn. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the tour. If you have any questions, leave in a comment. If you like the content, please subscribe. Thank you.